development. I'm going to allow our chief economist to give us an overview of the economic development strategy, which is one of the key drivers of the work that we are doing as the department. And then after that, he will be followed by our executive director, Mr. Matopa Nemasha, who will also share with the audience the different initiatives that we are driving as the department, as well as the support that is available for you. Can I ask that we give our chief economist a round of applause as he comes forward?
Good morning, Arti. Good morning, ED, business and everyone. My name is Pape Dipugubye. So I work for the Department of Economic Development, and I do economic development work from a statistical point of view. So today I'm going to just give you an overview of Region G statistical data, Region B statistical data, and also give you an indication of what we are doing from an economic development strategy point of view. So I think we can move. So basically, we'll be talking about the role of DED within the city of Johannesburg. Region B, a profile, and also the draft economic strategy. So in the context of this gathering, so the city of Johannesburg, through the Department of Economic Development, is responsible to create a business environment that is very friendly to promote business and entrepreneurship. So basically our main objective is to ensure that all the challenges that are experienced by entrepreneurs and businesses are addressed so that there is economic growth, investment, and job creation. So how do we do this? This is done through different departments within Department of Economic Development. We've got economic development facilitation, which talks to resource mobilization for implementation of programs, and also stakeholder management. We've got sustainable employment facilitation, which talks to support for SMMEs, talks to cooperative support for cooperatives, and also creation of employment opportunities through EPWP. We've got integrated regional economic development. It talks to different regions, especially in terms of identification of challenges from different regions. So if there are challenges in terms of power, water, so our department, what they will do is they will put together all those challenges and ensure that they are addressed, in short. And economic policy and planning, this is a point of convergence for economic data and information to assist the city in decision-making processes. And we've got trade and investment, that's why we are here. It talks to investment attraction, it talks to trade promotion, and it talks to retention and aftercare. Next slide. Okay, this is just a slide to give you an indication of where Region B is in the grand scheme of the city of Johannesburg and what it consists of. Okay, this is a very cluttered slide. So I'll just take it chunk by chunk. The population of Region B, this is according to IHS data, SMP data, is about 407,000, which is 0.6% of the national population. So I compared with the national population because of its importance, and to try and understand where is it located in the context of the country. And if you look at the Region B's growth in population, a percentage change, in 2024 it grew by 1.4%. And in 10 years, it grew by 1.4%. So I always say, please, I want you to keep this in mind. And from then on, we go to the labor market. What it basically means, these are the number of people that are employed in Region G. And we've got different sectors. And all of them, actually the two sectors, primary and secondary, they've been bleeding out jobs. So it means that Region B is leaned more towards finance and business services because there are jobs that have been created in the tertiary sector between 2014 to 2024. So what it means is, I think this bigger contribution to the city GDP is compromising the growth because we really need industrial development. I know there are a lot of retail developments that are taking place, but it's important for us in terms of strategic focus. We need to develop our industries so that we create jobs that are sustainable. So when it comes to gross domestic product, how big the economy is about 123 billion, which is 1.7% of the national GDP. And look at the growth in between 2023 and 2024 is 1.1%. And look at the 10-year average, as I indicated when I was talking to issues of population, is 0.9%. And the 10-year average for population is 1.4. So it means there are a lot more people in Region B than the economy is growing. In economics, we talk about per capita income, which means people are becoming poorer and poorer every day. So the unemployment rate for Region B is about 15% compared to the national, which is 32%. And the poverty, the people below the upper poverty line, these are the people who can afford food in simple terms and other non-food items such as shelter and clothes. So it's a bit lower. So we can move to the next presentation. So I just want to give you a synopsis of the draft economic strategy. And what I will do is, because it's draft, I will send it through to you to provide comments so that it is contextualized to Region B, especially in terms of interventions for the city of Johannesburg, specifically Region B. So this is more about why do we develop an economic growth strategy? Because the strategy is only a strategy if it's current and applicable. And what I want to mention here, before I go here, I look at this slide is, we need to understand that for the economy to grow, we need investment. And in economics, we call it growth fixed capital formation as a percentage of the GDP. So South Africa's investment as a percentage of GDP is around 14-15%, which is much more lower. The going standard that justifies economic development and also brings on investment and job creation is about 30 and above. China is 41%, the US is 21%. So we are trailing behind. There is no way that the economy is going to grow if we remain at 15%. So what does that mean? PPPs, extremely important. Partnering with business to try and grow the economy, very important. So in the context of this slide, we're talking about your stagnant growth. If you look at the period between 2000 and 2008, the city of Johannesburg grew by 5.5%. Very high growth. But from 2020 to 2024, it grew by 0.91%. Surprising. We know the GDP figures came out yesterday, 4.5% in Q3 to 2025. Yes, it is a good sign, but we're still trailing behind in terms of economic development progress. It can't move the needle. We also had a lot of loans from the World Bank and from Europe, but they can't move the needle. We're going to have to partner with businesses within the city of Johannesburg, outside the city of Johannesburg, internationally, to try and grow the city of Johannesburg. And there are a lot of positivities, as we would know, in South Africa. In terms of economic development, we have been moved out of the grey listing, and a lot of possibilities economically. The growth is positive, Q1, Q2, Q3, but as I said, the progress is way too slow to justify creation of jobs. So we also have job skills mismatch. where we have a lot of industries, but they do not cater for the kind of skills that are available. It's a skills mismatch. We also have uneven regional economies where region F dominates with 24%. So it's important to find that balance. And I always think the balance can be found through industrial development, where we take a conscious decision to develop industrial parks and also request for the development of SEZ to grow the economy. Concentration of finance and business services. Yes, from an economic development point of view, as the economy grows, it moves away from the primary sector to the tertiary sector. But I always ask myself, have we exploited the potential of the primary sector, not mining, agriculture, not primary agriculture, agro-processing within the city of Johannesburg because land is expensive? Have we exploited that? I don't think so, because we have moved too quick from primary to tertiary sector, compromising an objective to development of the secondary sector. So I think there is a need for us to revisit how we approach development. And persistent spatial inequality, I've mentioned. This is the problem that we're experiencing in the city of Johannesburg. This is the reason why we're developing the strategy. These are the challenges that we're experiencing. So before I get to the SWOT analysis, South Africa, the city, region B, we are experiencing an output gap. What do I mean by an output gap? So output gap is the actual growth against the potential growth. So region B is growing at 1 point something percent. Maybe it should be growing by 4 or 5%. So now we need to close that output gap. Yeah. 2 minutes. Oh, okay. So yeah, I was trying to say industrial development is important to close the output gap. Okay, let's move. These are the SWOT analysis, strength, weaknesses. I'm sure everyone is almost familiar with this. He said I'm left with 2 minutes. So in the economic growth strategy, we've identified 10 sectors. So for each sector, we identified, a number of opportunities and related interventions. I will send them to you. It's a very big document, around 600 pages, for all those interventions to be put in place. And we also identified drivers. There are some of the cross-cutting issues that you cannot ignore when you are developing a strategy, especially in terms of identification of. Move to the next. So this is the framework. It's a congested way of basically saying this is what the city should be looking at in terms of economic development. We've got 5 pillars. An enabling environment. We know there is no way that business can operate in an environment that is not enabled. Power, water, revenue collection, PPPs, safety and security. These are some of the foundational aspects that are required for business to operate. And we've got nodal development. We're basically saying here, there is no way that we can have a one-size-fits-all approach. If region B needs interventions, they must be catered for region B because it has a different character. They must be customized. So that's what we basically mean. Cluster development. So we have all those sectors that have been identified. They've now been congested into clusters. As you know, when you intervene, you don't intervene to an individual sector. You intervene to a cluster so that you make an impact. So we have identified all these sectors, without compromising identification of other traditional sectors such as tourism and agro-processing. Linkages and corridor development. This is more linkages between people and opportunities, and also housing and healthcare services. So economic development, inclusive economic development, this pillar has to benefit from each and every pillar here, because it talks to informal trading, it talks to SMME development, it talks to the lower segment of the market. And these are some of the cross-cutting issues that cannot be ignored if you are addressing the pillars. Let me move. So we are basically saying the economic growth strategy's objective is actually to look at innovation without compromising an objective to sustainability. So we must also ensure that those green principles are applied in whatever we do, be it industrial park development, retail development. We must not forget that. So we are basically trying to promote industrial diversification. We are to strengthen local value chains in township economies, leverage digitalization, infrastructure renewal. What we are planning to do is to achieve 260,000 jobs in a space of 5 years, and that will bring about a 3% increase in GDP growth. So we use the so-called social accounting metrics to do the projections. Yeah, I think this is a very important slide. These slides talk to how are we going to develop the economy. For one to develop the economy, you need money, funding, you like it or not. So here we're basically saying, if the city in the next 5 years can raise 1.6 billion, we'll be able to access 67 billion. It's called leverage. This is the information that we got from development finance experts to say, if we get this, and then we get the expertise in terms of project packaging, then it will be easy for us to unlock 67 billion. So yeah, this is the kind of functions that we will be carried out under the 1.6 billion in terms of project preparation, and then we will be able to unlock an additional 67 billion from alternative sources. So this is a model that indicates how we will grow based on the interventions that we have identified. I have not put in the interventions there because it's still a draft. I've sent them out, so because we also have additional interventions that will be proposed by other section of society. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that very detailed presentation. Without any further ado, I'm going to call our Executive Director, Mr. Matopa Namasha. Can we give him a round of applause?
Thank you, Program Director. I think just to acknowledge everyone who's here, specifically the RD, because I pass here almost all the time. I don't want him to put a toll gate just because I did not acknowledge him. And all colleagues that are here, thank you for coming through. I'm not much time because, as you would have imagined, Papedi would have covered a lot of the things that we want to do. There are 2 slides in the main that I want to focus on. One is that in terms of the work that we're doing around the trade and investment, one is obviously in creating that conducive environment in the city. We want to attract this investment. So that gap that Papedi is talking about, we need to make sure that we create that environment as well. But also critical, I think is the previous slide. Yeah, so this one. So one is investment promotion, attraction and facilitation, trade promotion and facilitation as well. You will know that in the city of Johannesburg, we also have a lot of multinationals that are looking for opportunities and areas where they can set up their business. So part of our responsibility as the city is to make sure that we provide with other platforms like your IDP sessions as the city where we engage stakeholders. But there, I think a lot of things are clustered there. So we wanted to really create a platform where we can have almost like one-on-one discussions and engagements around some of the things that we're doing, but also to hear what businesses, what are the issues that affect businesses, and as a city, we can collectively intervene and make sure that we really support businesses in the city of Johannesburg. I think if you look at some of the stats between 2023, 2024, where we attracted about 7 billion or so in FDIs in the city of Johannesburg. A lot of those is in your business services, your ICT, investment in data centers. If you go towards region E or towards Midrand side, that's where a lot of that investment is going into as well. But also as the city, I mean, through our planning colleagues, we've also, in terms of the regions, we do have areas that where we've got industrial sites, and a lot of what happens is when we've got inward missions or investors come into the city, we will engage them. Some will want to do site visits to go and see some of those sites. with a view of either investing there. So there are a lot of good initiatives. We also know that some of our existing businesses, Premier Foods, for example, they are currently expanding. I think they're spending about 1.2 billion or so, expanding their operations around Aratin. And that translates into job opportunities, but also it extends functionally into the work that we're doing in the township, closer to that industrial site. So it's quite important that when businesses feel that we listen to them and we are able to address their issues, they really do reinvest and expand, and as in the process, create job opportunities. And yeah, so I'll skip this slide as well. I think a lot of the stuff colleagues have covered. I think the next one on the some of the incentives or the support. Yeah, so I just want to spend a bit of time on this one. So some of the available support that we provide to business in terms of the work that we're doing, and just to indicate that as the city, we have established what we call an investment fast-tracking team. So here, basically, the intention is to look at what are the issues that are affecting business that we can fast-track. And you know, if you are in construction, real estate, before you, a lot of your time there, you're going to spend it in terms of your applications for zoning applications, delays, whether in business also, water license issues. So part of this team, which is basically comprised of key entities and departments in the city, your city power, and is to make sure that when a matter is brought to our attention, we're able to intervene and we're able to address those speedily, and we're able to unlock that investment. Because with any investment that we unlock, jobs are realized, but also the capacity of the city is also expanded in terms of the economy. So that is an important intervention. And we've looked at a few of the projects in the city, and think in some instances you may find that, I think there was one specific challenge with redefined properties where they want to invest in an area, but it's a cross-border issue. So on the other side is the Kuruleni, on this side is city of Joburg, but to them it's just a piece of land where they want to invest. And you may have a challenge because you may find that on the other side, rates in terms of certain things are different than this other side, or applications in terms of zoning, rezoning. So it's those smaller things that can really just frustrate people. So you basically create a one-stop kind of intervention where you're able to respond and properly deal with those issues. There are also issues around tax and rebates and tax incentives. Many people are not necessarily using this. For example, if you look at a UDZ for people who are in property who can actually apply to Treasury and they get incentives and rebates for this. We also will start communicating this a lot so that people who are in different sectors of the economy investing in the city know what are the incentives where. And also issues around retention and aftercare services. But also what we do, we also have a lot of missions. We work with the colleagues at GGD. I think they will talk a bit when they come. Also DTIC, where we have missions to other countries, where, for example, they may say, we are going to investment focusing on green economy, and they're looking for SMMEs in the city who can bring their products there for exhibitions. We also do that to make sure that products that are produced here can also be exposed to the global clientele as well. So we also do offer letters of support to investors as a validation of some of the investment that they want to bring in, and I think it's quite important as well. So I think, but also I think if you look at the last bullet, we just want to create a platform where we can engage with business. We also acknowledge that there are a lot of innovative ideas out there, and we want to create a platform where we're able to, as we engage, we're able to support some of those ideas from ideation, to commercialization, and where they can be implemented in the city of Johannesburg. So I think those were just some of the few things that I wanted to just emphasize, that we are here, and I think it's important that leaving the region B, we also have certain specific things that we know in the region that we want to focus on so that we support businesses in the region around those issues, and we're able to intervene and resolve those as the city. And I think that is important, so that when we come to work here at the zoo, we do not feel guilty that I've got issues here that I've not resolved. So it's quite important that we, as a responsive government, we were able to respond to your issues. So I think I will pause here for now, and I think later on, as we engage, we'll be able to also further provide clarity on other things that you may raise later in our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edie, for that very detailed and informative presentation. I think the heart of what he's trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are open for business. We are open for partnering with yourselves as business in order for us to collaborate in ensuring that we create that conducive environment for businesses to thrive, as well as making a meaningful contribution to our economy. What I wanted to highlight from the ED's presentation is the importance of the reason why we are here in the region, as opposed to clubbing all the regions into one engagement, which we could have easily done. We appreciate the fact that the landscape of the regions are not the same, even as the regional director highlighted in his opening address, that there are inequalities even in the region. So you can imagine when we are talking about a citywide landscape. So the reason why we decided to have it per region is so that we can appreciate the issues that pertain to the region, so that even in our interventions, we ensure that we bring interventions that are appropriate, that are relevant, and that will make the necessary impact that we are looking at. And then the second point that the ED highlighted is the importance of collaboration. Even as government or as the city, we are not working in isolation. We have very strategic partners. Some of them are coming to also present. But we just wanted to demonstrate that we will live what we are talking. So as much as we are calling the businesses forward to collaborate with us as the city, we are also doing the same. And with that said, it leads us to the next item on the program. I'm going to call Ms. Asisipo Mandanza, who is a business manager responsible for business retention at Province. She represents the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency and will present on available support from Province. Can we give her a round of applause as she comes forward?
Good morning, everyone. It's Asisipo Mandaza, as Amo has introduced me. I am from the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency, which is your economic development agency for the Gauteng province. I'll be taking you through what we do at the Gauteng Economic Development Agency, which is the GGDA, and then just to dwell more on the trade and investment support that we provide to businesses in Gauteng. So for those that might know us, we used to be called JEDA, which was established in 1996. We are an implementation arm for the Department of Economic Development, which is your provincial department that is there to lead, facilitate, as well as to manage sustainable job creation. So at the core of the work that we do, we want to create jobs, we want to sustain the economy. So the activities that we embark on are all aimed at that. Our vision is just to become an innovative, sustainable growth, as well as socio-economic development region within the Southern Africa. So you'd find that the position of Gauteng, we place ourselves as saying it's the gateway to Africa. So the work that we do is aimed at ensuring that we also export to the regions, the African region. So before that, when we were JEDA, we then merged with Blue IQ. Some of you might know Blue IQ. They were involved in multiple infrastructure projects, and then we became the GGDA, which is what we are today. We've got two main focus areas. We've got your trade and investment unit. That is the unit that I come under. So the work that I will talk about is what we do with the trade and investment unit. Then we've got your economic infrastructure unit. They've kind of diversified. They focus more on your infrastructure projects, mainly on industrial spaces / industrial parks. They work at revitalizing those, especially the government-owned ones. Then we've got your business intelligence and research unit, which does something similar than that was presented by the chief economist, but we focus on the broader Gauteng province. Within the GGDA group, we've got your AIDC, which they're based in Roslyn. That is your automotive supplier park. So if you're looking for, they work with developing the value chain within the supplier park. They do a lot of work in terms of training, skills development, working with your automotive component suppliers, just to link either school children or young graduates or small businesses that have got innovative initiatives for the auto sector. That's what they do within that supplier park. You've got your GIDZ, which is your SEZ that is based in OR Tambo. For those that are looking at setting up operations in an SEZ to take part in incentives that are available at a national scale, they are there to help you that. So they house a various number of manufacturers in OR Tambo. Precinct 1 is fully leased. They're now getting tenants for Precinct 2. Then you've got your innovation hub, which is your science and technology park. They're also in Pretoria. It's for your innovative, your ideas. They house developers. Whatever is in is in the innovation space, that's what they deal with in terms of, it's mostly businesses. If you're starting up, they incubate those as well. So for those that have got an interest into that, that's what they do. And then as well as your constitutional hill. I just thought we should just have this a slide for you to get to understand the broader scale of the GGDA group. Then now I'll come in to the unit, trade, investment, and regulatory enablement unit. So within the unit, we divided into 4 divisions. So mainly based on the value chain that each business would go through ideally. So we've got your investment promotion and development unit. Those are the ones that are responsible for promoting investments into the province. They work on direct, which is called domestic direct investment, which is investments that is coming in from South Africa, whether it's a business that is in KwaZulu-Natal that wants to now come in and set up in Gauteng, so long they're coming from the country, that is your DDI. They also work with FDI, which is your foreign direct investments. What they do, they track investors that are looking into coming in and setting up in Gauteng, and then they give us leads. That's what we call to build our pipeline, pipeline being the pipeline of projects that we need to facilitate. But what they do is that they promote Gauteng. So when they're going out to promote, depending on what sectorial focus that event is, they would then promote Johannesburg, they promote Ekurhuleni, they promote Gauteng overall. They work a lot with your foreign ministers, as well as international business community, because you understand all these things are interconnected. So they work with those just to promote Gauteng, as well as to position Gauteng as a viable place for doing business. You'd understand Gauteng is quite known. People know Johannesburg, so when they want to come in into South Africa, they would want to set up here. But that doesn't mean that we cannot promote Gauteng, because you would understand when you're going there tends to be competition with provinces sometimes saying I'm the best and the best. So you just need to prove yourself and put the stats into the table to say what would make a business to come in and set up in Region B, for example. Then you've got your investment facilitation unit, which I assume most of you that are businesses that are here, you deal more with them because you already are in Joburg. What they do is they help businesses to facilitate investment. By investment, it's an idea that you have, you want to open a factory, you want to start this venture, that is an investment. What they do is they help you with guiding with incentives. What incentives are available? There tends to be broader scale, there's IDC, there's the DTIC, there's NEF, there's various institutions, whether they're government owned or privately owned. We work with those to promote a business, to say you can use these financiers for your business. If you're experiencing delays with your approvals, I must say we've got a good relationship with the City of Johannesburg. We've worked with them on a number of projects whereby delays might be experienced or there's issues. They help with coming in to unblock those for you. If you're doing immigration support services, you tend to find with these multinationals that when they want to bring in skills, we work with that in terms of immigration support, as well as whatever approvals that you might be needing for your business, whether you're needing EIA approvals, you want to understand what approvals does your product need to adhere to for it to go into market. We provide you with that information for your product so that you're ready for your investment to land properly. And then the business retention unit and aftercare, that is the unit that I'm coming from, like the sub-unit within the trade and investment unit. What we do, we take care of businesses so that you do not pack up and leave. There's various aftercare issues that businesses face when they're operating. And most of the times it's your small things. It's not the big things that make businesses to pack up and leave. It's litter not being collected by Pick It Up. It's constant power outages not being fixed. It's your road infrastructure not being adhered to. So businesses, we work with business communities, they bring these issues to us to say, hey, we're experiencing issues in this area, how can you assist? Because we've got relationship with these entities, we then advocate for a friendly business environment for these businesses to operate on. If you are expanding, you're looking for premises, or you're looking for expansion support in the form of incentives, we help you with that. We just generally also promote the ease of doing business. So you will find that each case is kind of, it's unique to the business or it's unique to the area. So what the support that we do, we want to retain you invested in Gauteng. So we would work with you with whatever the issue. You might find them, some of them are having issues with jobs being on the line, and if you're looking into the structure of the business, this is what needs to be done to just help them. So that's the support that we provide. And then we've got the unit, which is the trade promotion unit. What they do is they help enterprises with access to markets as well as expansion opportunities. So if you're producing whatever you're producing in the country or the services that you offer, they help businesses with that. So if you're looking for to sell your product to international markets, you want to understand the whole value chain. Where do I start? Do I need to register at SARS to be an exporter? Do I need to use an agent? What incentives are available there? What trade agreements to use? They guide you with that. They provide you with awareness information. They provide you with trainings. We host a lot of delegations coming into Gauteng. They provide you with business-to-business engagements with those delegations coming in as a form of support, as well as just looking at Africa expansion. So they have information in terms of what contracts are available into African markets. Can you bid for those contracts? That is the unit that does that. They're there to help you to export your products as well as services into the rest of to the global world. This just talks about how we do it. It's pretty repetitive, but what we do, we improve intergovernmental coordination. We conduct a few aftercare forums. We do want to understand businesses in terms of industry feedback sessions. So we take the feedback that we get from businesses quite seriously, because they're the ones that are operating. We might be wanting to offer a certain service, but it might not be aligned to what businesses are in need of. So we do take those feedbacks and incorporate them into our planning in the coming year. As well as we just work with investors and businesses to intervene timelessly to resolve whatever issues they may be facing. And these are the sectoral focus that we have. This is the broader Gauteng landscape. So Gauteng is divided into 5 corridors, as Joburg is also divided into various corridors. But this is our focus. We've got your central corridor, which is the city of Joburg. We focus mostly on finance, ICT, retail, and business services. It's mostly services. The reason why is that I'm not saying there's no manufacturing, there is, but you'd find that most of the businesses, they'll have manufacturing in Ekurhuleni or in the south, but they'll still have a presence in the central corridor just for ease of doing business and interconnectedness. For them to be interconnected with the other players. We look into Ekurhuleni, so we would say if you're looking into your advanced manufacturing, food and beverages, aerospace and defense, that's the most players that you'd get, so that is the sectorial focus of that area, as well as your Tshwane, if you're looking into the auto hub. That's why we've got our AIDC based today, because they're positioning themselves for the broader OEMs that are operating in that space. And then this, this other slide just talks about SEZ that are in Gauteng. We do know that there's no SEZ in the city of Johannesburg area, but there's various industrial spaces / industrial parks that we work with. We work with businesses that have grouped themselves. For example, you'd find the Wadeville, not the Wadeville, like the Devlin group, you'd find the Marlborough group. We work with, you find the Kaya Sense group. There's various groups within the inner city as well, so we work with those industrial spaces just to promote reindustrialization into those areas and just to create a vibrant business culture. And then these are our key partners that we work with, because you cannot work alone to deliver the services. So we've got MOUs with these entities. Some of them have gone as far as giving us dedicated desk of people that we work with for our issues. So if you're looking at the private sector, we work with various banks. We work with the DBSA, we work with ACFRISM. And then if you're looking in terms of national government agencies, that is not limited. I did speak about approvals. We work a lot with the Water and Sanitation Department, Department of Home Affairs, and our key partner, which is the DTIC, as well as ESCOM. Local government, we work with the city of Joburg, as well as all the municipalities in Gauteng, and as well as your provincial government / agencies that are within Anglo. And then just this last slide, this talks about the notable players that we have facilitated investments with. This is not an exhaustive list. This just gives you an idea about the type of businesses that we work with. We work with medium as well as large businesses. So you would see that, you see your Ford, we work a lot with their issues that they're experiencing in Tshwane. We work at Microsoft. With Microsoft, we've worked with QK Meats. Mr. Masha mentioned Premier Foods that is launching. We work with them as well. We were involved in that project, as well as Stain City, Leroy Manlin. There's a lot, but what issues your business is facing, or just to take me through what your plans are, and then from that we could be able to say this is the type of support that we could provide to you at the GGTA. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asi, for that very detailed presentation. This is one of my favorite slides, and I nearly got in trouble last week in Region A, RT. There was a councillor that was in attendance, and she was questioning why she doesn't see some of the businesses from Region A. So we had to explain that the reason why we are putting it like this is because we are calling other businesses, and this is the comment that I always say after this, with our next engagement, because this is not the last, we are hoping that some of the businesses that are represented in the room will also find expression in this presentation. So we are making a call to businesses to come and work with us, so that when we report to our principals, we'll say businesses in Region B are also represented. They have found support from all the structures in the 3 spheres of government. So if your region RD is not here, I believe next time it will be. Sorry. Thank you so much. We are moving right along. I'm going to call Ntate Donald Mabusela, who is from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition to come and give us his presentation about the available support from national. Again, we're just highlighting that we are not working alone, but we are working with all the three spheres of government. Can we give him a round of applause?
Thank you, Program Director. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. That's my name. I'm working for the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition within the branch that is responsible for administering the incentive schemes. We have quite a good number of incentives that support businesses in various ways. And we thank the city for granting us this opportunity to be part of this initiative so that we can share with the business community our kind of support. With this understanding that we're national, anything is happening, things are happening in the provinces and also happening in the local areas. And that's where the business community is, and that's where our support should go. Mine is a very long presentation. I'm going to be skipping and jumping all over the place with the understanding that the presentation will be shared with everyone here so that you can follow. This is the leadership of the department. Thank you. Let's continue the next one. This is a very important slide, ladies and gentlemen. It gives an overview of the kind of support we are offering. As you can see, the first bullet point is saying, all in all, we have about 20 different schemes and sub-schemes. And then the fact that all our schemes are offered on a cost-sharing basis, which means there's no financial assistance scheme that provides 100% support. In certain instances, you might get 20%. In other instances, you get 40%, 50%, up to 80%, depending on a number of variables. As you complete the application form, we're able to harvest the information, and based on the information you've received, we'll be able to say to you, in this particular scheme, this is how much you qualify for. So, which means now, because it's cost sharing, it means the applicant must be able to raise the balance of the funding, either as part of your own funds, and in addition, other people raise loans so that they can complement the grants that we're offering. And most of our schemes offer support to new entities. When you're starting up, we can assist you. And those that are operating, expansions and upgrading, we offer support in those areas. And the majority of enterprises, let me say, our schemes are focusing mainly at supporting the manufacturing sector and also the agro-processing sector. It's about acquiring various equipment, machinery, and the tools you need to do your manufacturing or to process whatever you want to process, which means we do not support, we don't have incentives to support primary agriculture, neither do we have programs to support those people who are doing the actual mining. But beyond that, that's where we come in. And qualifying costs. Our support assists entrepreneurs and the business community to acquire factory buildings, the machinery, the tools, the various kind of equipment they require, and also commercial vehicles. Those are the key areas. Of course, there will be slight differences from one incentive scheme to the other, but those are the main costs that we support. And another important element is that our schemes operate on a reinvestment principle, which of course it's a bit of a challenge to especially SMMEs. They always have problems of cash flow. But now in terms of the PFMA, once you're approved, you implement your project. As you are implementing, you submit the claim and we reimburse you. So there are no upfront payments. And of course, another important aspect is that the quality of your business case is important because not every request that comes through to us will be supported. Maybe I'm sounding a bit negative here, but I want to emphasize this point that when you come up with a business case, make sure that you can prove to us that it's economically viable, which means you'll be able to run this business in a profitable way, especially with us who are using the taxpayers' money. Everyone sitting here is a taxpayer. I know how hard you are working. Now, if you entrust those resources to us and we randomly support businesses that are not of good quality, you put millions here, millions there, and all those businesses collapse, very soon you're going to fire us. So as a result, you must be able to show us that this is an economically viable enterprise. Among others, you want to start or you want to expand, you'll be able to run it profitably because the key thing here is that you have got off-take agreements, which means whatever you'll be manufacturing, whatever you'll be producing, you have engaged your potential clients, they've made a commitment that they'll buy those products. Then it's a tick. And the second thing is that how technically viable is your business case. Now we look at your business plan, the organogram that you are showing, who is going to be leading this project, who is going to be responsible for manufacturing, and so on and so on. Now when you go through the CVs of the key players in that enterprise, it's sending us a very good message that even though this enterprise is new, but the skill set that is there will be able to assist this enterprise to deliver the goods. And because I said there are different schemes, means you need to go through the guidelines of that particular incentive scheme that you want to apply for and familiarize yourself with the rules there and make sure that you package your request accordingly. The next slide, please. Yeah, this is another important slide that groups the various incentive schemes that we have. And then on each one of these schemes, I've put a slide, one or two, which provide some details on each one of them. But now, for the sake of time, I'll not go into those finer details. The first grouping, we're encouraging South Africans to innovate. We're saying, look for new products, look for new technologies and better ways of doing things, improve the quality of your products and so on and so on. And we've got two main schemes there that financially contribute, because we are aware of the fact that when you're busy innovating, improving products, looking at new ways of doing things, you spend a lot of money until you started commercializing. So during that phase, we partly pay for your expenses so that you can innovate. Now, the top one is technology and human resources for industry program, and the second one is support program for industrial innovation. So which is which? With the top one, we abbreviate as STRIP. When you want to research and come up with an improved product, and you are aware of the fact that there are universities, or there's a university, or there's a research council somewhere, there's a research institution that is doing work in that space, and you want to partner with those kind of institutions, the most relevant one will be THRIP. And we're saying in that process of researching and coming up with better products, there must be senior students who are doing masters and doctoral degrees who will be part of the team that will be assisting you. So it's you who see, you might be aware of the fact that University of Johannesburg has got this important program that is researching 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the kind of things I want to pursue, and I want to use that kind of knowledge and expertise to improve my products. Now, with support program for industrial innovation, it's when you don't necessarily see the need to work with those research institutions. You simply want to do your own research and develop better products, then the SPII will be the most relevant one. Then the second grouping, it's those enterprises, those projects that are in manufacturing, either starting up or upgrading existing projects. Among them, the most popular one is the Black Industrialist Scheme. But it is not the only scheme. There are other schemes there. With the Black Industrialists, those who are familiar with, you know this, that we support those businesses where black people own at least 51%. So if blacks own less than 50% of the company, we can't assist you through the BIS. And of course, we're saying these are incentives. We're influencing whoever is involved to take into consideration that to transform and ensure that women, young people, black people are part of those businesses. We know this, that they can now apply for our financial support. We are influencing in the way of trying to drive the transformation of this economy. And of course, we're also saying with the Black Industrialists, we support these medium to larger projects which require an investment of at least 30 million. Now, if the investment is less than 30 million, then we can go for manufacturing support program. We also encourage participation of black people, but not necessarily that they should be in the majority. But now, with all these schemes, those projects where black people are participating, where women are participating, where young people are participating, you score certain points, and those points are assisting us to determine what percentage you'll qualify for in terms of support. And the aquaculture development incentive program, those that are involved in the aquaculture spaces, that's one project. I think we've got only one we funded where that gentleman, it's what, farming, what, crocodiles, just one example, but any other aquaculture project, we fund them. With strategic partnerships program, we are addressing a challenge here. In most cases, when you engage medium to large businesses to say, provide opportunity for SMMEs to be part of the key players in your businesses, the excuse would be that maybe those small businesses might not have the required expertise or the know-how to provide the quality services and products required. Now, through the SPP, we as a department, we say, let's partner with those kind of enterprises, those businesses, whereby we'll put a rent for every rent they put in so that they can set up a program and employ someone whose responsibility would be to ensure that SMMEs are capacitated, are assisted, given the required support so that they can be the major players along the value chains. Black people should not only be suppliers of catering services and these non-core activities. Now we're saying let's partner with those businesses. If they're honest and sincere, we make funding available so that we partner with them. Agro-processing, I've already explained that. Those also who are in the automotive sector, either manufacturing cars or producing or manufacturing component parts, we make funding available. And then within the IDC, there's funding available at reduced interest rates to support those enterprises that are in manufacturing. And then in the services sector, these are the schemes available. Global business services incentive. Those examples maybe would be the call centers, those people who are setting up call centers. But now, you must have a contract with global players. You must have a contract with these multinational companies, whereby they outsource certain services to your entity. Now, through this funding, we help you set up and employ the people that are going to be working in that center. But the key here is that it's global business. We are attracting multinationals to outsource some of the activities to South African companies as a way of creating job opportunities for South Africans. And then the rest is about film producers in various ways. Black filmmakers, we support them, whatever they want to do. We're saying let those scripts become films, and we partly pay for the cost of producing films in various ways. And then the next cluster, we're saying as you manufacture or produce whatever products you're coming up with, let's assist you as an entrepreneur or as a business to sell your products outside the boundaries of South Africa, selling on the continent and maybe even selling overseas. Through this kind of support, a lot of business people have been all over the globe going there to introduce their products. Either business people go and attend exhibitions to show their products. So now you want to go to wherever. Are you going to Mozambique to attend an exhibition? How much is it going to cost you? Flight, accommodation, daily subsistence, and what have you. And then you say your budget is 100,000 rand. We do the necessary calculations and say you are approved. Now when you come back, you submit a claim, we reimburse you most of those funds. And then the sector-specific assistance scheme, now we're saying most of our black businesses, most of our SMMEs have not been exporting in a successful way. We're partnering with the city and other agencies, GGDA and whoever, the CFAS, Small Enterprise Development Agencies, and so on, to say, let's work together and give support so that we can create more exporters. And as part of that process of creating more successful exporters, through this scheme, we're making funding available whereby the city can practically engage those business people, take a group of them and travel with them to a particular country as a way of giving them exposure and the required support they need. We pay the full costs up to a certain maximum. This is the only scheme where we pay in advance because the organizations like the city that are working with us, they'll be taking responsibility for implementation of those kind of projects. Capital projects feasibility program, we're saying as we look for opportunities to export our products, it would also help a great deal if those South Africans that have got projects outside South Africa are assisted when they do feasibility studies. Here it's mainly those multi-million projects which would require South African capital goods, which will require the machinery and the tools and the heavy equipment to be imported from South Africa into those countries where projects are going to be implemented. So we pay for the feasibility study with this understanding that when South African engineers and architects and other service providers participate in the feasibility studies, when they design those projects, obviously the design will favor the South African suppliers, because if Indians are financing those studies, most of the equipment will come from India. If it's the Chinese, it's going to come from China. Now, in South Africa, we're saying, let's support our people to set up outside South Africa. And then the last one, it's about the infrastructure investment. We are investing in infrastructure, working in partnership with the city to assist with mainly bulk services, so as a way of unlocking various projects that will create lots of opportunities for people, especially through the critical infrastructure program, whereby we pay for those services. I think basically these are the different schemes that we have, and then for each one of them there's a slide that gives a little bit of information. And then let's go to the last slide where I've put our contact details so that if you want to engage with us, that's my number. If you send me a text whenever I'm available, I'm going to engage with you. But if you call, I might not be able to take your call, so please don't fight with me. You can also send email, but that number is on WhatsApp. So let's have those discussions and engagements, and these are my colleagues. If there's any question, anything, feel free to engage us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ntate Donald, for that very detailed and informative presentation. I don't know how many times I've heard this presentation in the past few weeks, but every time he speaks, there's something that pops up. I'm like, I didn't think about this. So I will be bothering you a lot, sir, because of the nature of businesses that we are working on. And I think one of the quick wins is the one that you spoke to, that the municipalities can apply. We have, as part of our Trade and Investment Directorate, we are also capacitating SMMEs to prepare them to be exporter ready. And I think we were looking for this kind of an opportunity where we can then take them to gain access to other markets. But definitely we are going to engage you outside this meeting to make sure that that becomes a reality. And I'm hoping that, Donald, we can put you under pressure to say, when we meet next year, we can successfully say there are businesses that have participated in the CES program, so that we can highlight it as some of our success stories. I see the ED is also nodding his head. So yeah, we want to see that happening. Thank you so much. We are moving right along. I'm also mindful of our time. We are going to have a presentation by Productivity SA. I didn't check if they are in the room. Ntate Chibase. What we've done, we have received a presentation from your organization, so we'll just quickly play it, and we'll also allow you to come afterwards so that you can summarize. Is that fine? Thank you so much.
Productivity SA, Competitiveness Improvement Services Program. Productivity SA, Competitiveness Improvement Services Program. Productivity SA is a Schedule 3A public entity of the Department of Employment and Labour, with the mandate to promote employment growth and productivity, thereby contributing to South Africa's socio-economic development and competitiveness. Our value proposition is to provide productivity and competitiveness improvement solutions to enhance the productivity and operational efficiency of enterprises throughout the business life cycle, to accelerate the creation of wealth and decent work. Productivity SA's Competitiveness Improvement Services Program focuses on creating an enabling environment conducive to entrepreneurship and sustainable enterprises that can create productive employment and decent work. The South African economy is made up of 2.36 million SMMEs, of which over 650,000 of them are in the formal economy and the remaining 1.58 million in the informal economy. CIS supports South Africa's strategic objectives in scaling up efforts to promote long-term industrialization and transformation of the economy, and to achieve a productive high-income economy which is globally competitive. Competitiveness Improvement Services enhances the appropriate capacities of SMMEs and cooperatives to adopt world-class productivity enhancement best practices, focusing on products, processes, and people. The SMMEs and cooperatives, especially those in the productive sectors with strong growth and employment multipliers within the priority sectors, are targeted. CIS prioritizes the participation of historically disadvantaged people and regions in the economy, and therefore support meaningful BBBEE using instruments such as special economic zones, industrial parks, and black industrialist interventions. Linked to the reimagined industrial strategy and the sector master plans, the following sectors have been prioritized. Industrial sectors: automotive, clothing, textile, leather and footwear, gas, chemicals and plastics, renewables or green economy, steel and metal fabrication, agriculture and agro-processing, creative sector, and the oceans economy. The Competitiveness Improvement Services Program objectives are to develop the skills of SMMEs in order to establish, grow and sustain their businesses to have an impact in the local economy, to ultimately focus on improving productivity and competitiveness of these enterprises and make them sustainable, and to initiate a journey towards improved service delivery, profitability, and organizational competitiveness. CIS programs provide support for emerging and stable businesses. In the emerging sector, small and micro enterprises, we focus on training programs and solutions, including mentorship and coaching. Trainings range from productivity awareness, learning to measure and manage, business performance improvement workshops focus on improving profitability and employment creation through wastage elimination, increased sales, reduced operational costs through speed and quality improvement, maximized profits, and creating an early warning system to detect distress prior to its arrival. The outcome is to promote a productivity culture and mindset, as well as driving accountability for productivity performance at enterprise, sectoral, and national levels. We further aligned ourselves to the district development model, whereby we capacitate productivity champions, ensuring there is support through stakeholders and other key partners within all districts of South Africa. In the stable businesses, small, medium and large corporations or enterprises, the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition fund interventions which includes the Kaizen program and the Workplace Challenge program. The Kaizen program is a 4 to 6 months intervention and consists of the following implementation stages. Phase 1, baseline assessment and capacity building. Phase 2, process analysis and project identification. Phase 3, implementation. And Phase 4, performance monitoring or impact analysis. The Kaizen program's aim is to introduce the key concepts and tools of Kaizen, to identify Kaizen champions and capacitate the champions with tools, to create active participation, to facilitate problem-solving techniques aimed at improving key performance indicators such as cost, quality, speed, delivery, morale, and safety, and to define key activities to drive continuous improvement. The Workplace Challenge program is implemented over a 12-month period and is a Department of Trade, Industry and Competition supply-side program managed by Productivity SA. The Workplace Challenge program utilizes the following toolkit modules. Toolkit 1, Goal Alignment. Toolkit 2, Cleaning and Organizing. Toolkit 3, Teamwork. And Toolkit 4, Leadership. The program assists South African organizations to enhance productivity and competitiveness by improving workplace relations, by implementing world-class practices or best operating practices, and by sharing and disseminating experiences. The key strategies of best practice organizations are to implement leadership practices that promote teamwork, collective participation, continuous learning, and flexibility, to focus on simultaneous improvement of quality, speed or delivery, cost, and morale, to establish close links with customers and suppliers, to drive both linear and non-linear improvement initiatives, and to eliminate all forms of waste and making value flow. The Competitiveness Enhancement Program implements productivity and competitiveness enhancement initiatives with the focus on operational efficiency within exporting or potential export clients. The Emerging Exporters Program is a 6-month intervention and the Large Exporters Program is 10 months. The focus is on productivity and innovation, value chain efficiency, as well as export market access through clustering of enterprises. The aim of the Competitiveness Enhancement Program is to increase the competitiveness of South African enterprises, to assist enterprises to overcome the challenge of entry in the global market, and to become more productive and competitive. Some of the outcomes of the programs are to improve productivity, to improve operational efficiency by improving resource utilization, reducing cost, eliminating waste, improve quality and profitability, as well as to sustain and create jobs. Productivity SA's enterprise development and support programs, with the focus on SMMEs, aid in improving the competitiveness and sustainability of these enterprises. This is in line with Productivity SA's mandate of promoting employment growth and productivity, thereby contributing to South Africa's socio-economic development and competitiveness.
Thank you so much. Can we welcome Mr. Stanley Chivase to summarize for us? Let's give him a round of applause as he comes forward.
Good afternoon, colleagues. I hope everyone is okay. Just a point of correction, it's not Chivase, it's Chisebe. So it's okay, it's okay. Firstly, I would like to apologize for the quality of the video that we have shared with you. I don't know what seems to have been a problem, but we do have a better quality video at our position. Just to give a bit of a summary in terms of productivity, I think much of the focus was on the WPC and its Kaizen project. So productivity is a non-financial support institution. We don't fund, but we help you as a business to perform better. So I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview in terms of productivity so that you can have an understanding of the programs that we offer throughout. So we have a program that focuses more on the emerging companies that are just startups that you want to try to find your feet. You want to understand what it means to be in a business. You want to understand what you need to do for you to be more profitable as a business. So at that level, the only services that we offer is just trainings, so that you can be able to be more capacitated to understand what to do as an emerging business owner. Under the WPC, I think much of it has been explained, but the most important thing is that there will always be key drivers of the business. For a business to do well, we are in business because we want to make profit. But what we need to understand is, what are those key drivers that drive the business for it to be able to make profit? So as productivity say, when we come to a business, we do assessments first before we actually start working with you, so that we can be able to understand your business, challenges of your businesses, and be able to share with you those challenges in an area where you need to focus on, so that when you do your performance, you don't miss an opportunity to improve and be able to make profit. We also have a program that is called B10R. The B10R program is funded by the UIF. This program only focuses on the businesses that are showing a sign of distress. If you then show that there's a sense of decline in your business, let's just say, for example, last year you made about 1 million, and this year there's a bit of you made 900,000. To us, it shows that your business may need an attention before things can get worse. So this program is fully funded by the UIF. But of course, you've got to qualify for you to be able to benefit from these kind of programs. Productivity say employees that will come and do assessments and be able to be ascertain that you do qualify. But you need to have a certain number of employees for you to qualify, and those employees should be contributing to the UIF if you are to qualify. So all the services within productivity say they can be for free, but it depends on the nature of your business and the structure of the business. So if you go to the companies that qualify for Kaizen, for example, majority of those companies, we do them for free because this funding has been provided for by the DTIC and Department of Labor. But when you go to the WPC, this is where things start to change a bit, because this is an intensive intervention that requires a lot of time and a lot of resources. So some of these interventions, then you need to put in some funding. So some of the clients that we work with on the WPC will be the likes of Joburg Water. So there will be institutions that are well established, that are big in their nature. So those are the businesses that when we work with them, they will then be able to bring some funds to be able to get the work going. So I think maybe as Productivity SA, what we do as an organization, much of the things that I can say have been already presented on the video, but it's just to look into your operational efficiency, to say as a business, at what level are you performing at? Where are you supposed to be? Do you have capacity? Are you able to manage your capacity efficiently? What is the plant availability, for example, and what is the utilization? So we are able to look into your performance in its entirety and be able to tell you of the gaps and areas where you need to focus on. So some of the things that are more of the key drivers that we focus on will be your quality. If your quality is not sitting well, of course, it can create a lot of problems for your business. At the same time, we help you identify the cost drivers. It may not necessarily be in a form of money, but it can be the things that you do as a business that kind of take money away from the business. So if, for example, you're going to have, if you're in manufacturing and you have a lot of reworks, of course, that's going to be time that you spend doing the job. You may have to spend times 2 of the time that you're supposed to be spending. There will be labor that you need to pay, this material that you need to look into. So those are the things that when you look at it, you may end up spending more money than you're supposed to spend. So we are helping you, we help you when you come to your business to identify those kind of things and help you to put what you call control measures in place so that you will be able to know when your business is doing well and your business is not doing well. We call those things early warning systems for your business. That when you are looking into your business on a daily, weekly, or monthly, you can be able to understand if whether you're doing well or you're not doing well. So in case you're not doing well, you can be able to change and be able to do better. So I think as Productivity said, that's just what we do in the main. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stanley Chiseve. Thank you. Apologies for butchering your surname earlier on. Thank you so much for that presentation. We really appreciate it. I was fortunate enough to attend your award ceremony for the Workplace Challenge, and I was really inspired by the testimonies that were shared from businesses who were on the decline, but through your intervention, they managed to save costs as well as increase their profits. So to the businesses that are in the room, if you are in need of those services, I highly encourage you to get in touch with Mr. Stanley. Presentations and contact details will be provided, or you can also speak to us to connect you. I'm a bit worried about time, colleagues. I also want us to give businesses an opportunity to ventilate some of the issues that they might have. So I want us to leave enough time for that engagement. With that said, I'm going to ask the next 2 speakers to stick to the allocated 10 minutes. I'm going to call Mr. Tsepano Maloka from Group Finance to come and give us his presentation on the debt relief program. And immediately after that, I'm also going to call Mr. Stanley Mashiri from who is a business development manager at Accelerate Services Precinct, and I'll come after Mr. Leslie. Can we give him a round of applause?
Good afternoon, Program Director, thank you. I would like to greet the RD, the AD, and the Chief Economist, and our colleagues, business owners, and investors. So mine today, actually, in most cases, I always like to collect, But in this case, at least now there's some sort of relief that we're trying to do for our individuals and investors and business owners. So, next slide. So debt relief, this is the fourth phase actually that we are having a debt relief. It started after COVID, whereby people were unemployed, businesses were not doing so much money, or there was a little bit of lack in it. So this is the fourth one. So it was approved by council in October. So this debt relief, it's going to run in a period of a year, from the 1st of November 2025 until the 31st of October this year. So the aim with this is to make sure that the burden that our customers and investors are having with their municipal bills, so that we can try to do some what we call a debt relief or a cut in terms of the monies that you're owing us. Because remember, you get frustrated with the billing and revenue on our side, but we are saying today is with what you are owing the city, come and apply. Let's try to assist you in a sense whereby we can do a little bit of debt relief in this case. So we did do some little bit of engagements and consultations with our MOEs. MOEs meaning your City Power, your Joburg Water, to say and rates, to say, you know what can we do to assist our customers in a large meaning individual businesses and investors. So hence we had to bring this program again. You can go to the next slide. So the purpose of this program basically is to support over-indebted customers, as I mentioned, to try to put them in a payment plan as well after we have done our cutoffs. I will explain the categories after the slide. So we also, in our side, remember, it's an exciting moment for me because I always want to collect. So it also enhances our revenue collection for the city as well. So we also try to ensure relief is based on accurate data, meaning that when you come and apply for the relief, we need to make sure that your billing is accurate. There's no estimated readings, there's no incorrect billing from your valuations and your rates paying sections as well. So the prompt response is for service use to nominalize tempered meters. So if your meter or one of the meters that you consume is tempered, we are saying we are giving you a chance. Let's fix that, because remember there is a penalty that you pay, but while we have added that penalty because we have to add it because of audit issues, but you will get a relief based on that as well. So we are trying to say, let's start afresh, let's start this relationship again from a clean slate. We also encourage payments to be done. That's why we have this program. You can go to the next slide. So this is the qualifying criteria. So we are saying pensioners and ESP, they benefit more. ESP meaning the extended social package individuals. So they get what we call 100% debt relief. So whatever they're owing the city in terms of 10,000 to 20,000, 200,000, they do get a write-off. Then therefore, we do also encourage them to go into an arrangement if there's any amounts that needs to be payable. We have residential customers. Those are customers that are earning a salary. So those ones we are saying, bring your documentations. I will explain the documentation on the next slide. Then apply, then you can get up to 50% debt relief. Then the remaining amount will be put into an arrangement so that, let's say you're owing the city 100,000, 50,000 can be cut off, then the remaining can be split into 24 months, then we make sure that we have our relationship going smoothly. Then this is the interesting part, because we are here because of the businesses and the small businesses. So we are saying in terms of large businesses, you are also invited. In the previous debt reliefs, businesses were sidelined. So in this case now, what we are saying is large businesses, they can also apply, but there are things that we need in terms of qualifying criteria. And small businesses, faith-based organizations, NPOs, old age, orphanage, body corporates. But in terms of that bracket, remember, large businesses, we have what we call key accounts. We call them key accounts. individuals. Then your small businesses, it's a separate scenario which we engage on a regional level. So why we separated the two is obviously the large businesses will be dealt a lot with the key accounts section, which are based in Tuso House. But in terms of the payment agreement, it's unfortunate with large businesses, we're saying 60 days, and their debt that is older than 36 months, that's what we can write off as a 50% as well. So then all interests and fee waivers, which when we mean waivers, we mean like when we send you a disconnection card, we charge you. When we disconnect, we charge you. Unfortunately, that's how it works because we need to pay consultants. So those will be definitely removed on 100%. We can go to next slide. So the conditions. So the property needs to be 2.5 less. If you have two properties, yes, they do qualify, but they should not amount more than 2.5 million. Then we also have, it's unfortunate if you have already had a debt relief. Remember, we are saying this is the fourth phase. You can't qualify again because you already had benefited. Then we are saying ESP and pensioners, customers, they are welcome to apply again if they've already had applied. Then vacant land and staff accounts, unfortunately, colleagues, we do not qualify in this regard. It needs to be an owner who applies for this, meaning now when we go into the business side of things, remember we have what we call tenant account. So a tenant account, it's fading off. As a CT, we are saying that we are consolidating all these accounts, we are putting them in one account. So unfortunately, if you have a stairs in a mall, and now the owner of that mall unfortunately needs to apply. You at Steers, unfortunately, you cannot apply because remember, at Steers you have what you call your electricity bills and etc. So in that regard, so unfortunately, we need the owner to apply. We need 3 years audited financial statements. We also need what you call the 6 months bank statements. Then obviously, then the turnover, as I explained, it needs to be less than 3 million. So the payment, repayment terms, I did explain at the previous slide. 12 to 24 months will be your general customer, 36 to 60 months your pensioners, and 6 to 12 months will be your small businesses. And then your large businesses will be the 60 days, as I explained on the previous slide. Disclaimer, the city reserves the right to conduct a full financial assessment of applicants. So we need to have a disclaimer, unfortunately. Then the non-compliance, any post-relief non-compliant, which is the temporary or non-payment, those are the non-compliance. Then if the property is sold during the program, so if you're selling the property during the program, it's unfortunate that the outstanding balance needs to be done based on the clearance figures. Then the property use needs to be clear in terms of the zoning. So the zoning needs to be clear. If now the zoning is incorrect and you applied it as residential and unfortunately it's a business, you automatically get disqualified. So colleagues, in a nutshell, applicants cannot be accepted after the 31st of October. By me saying that, we have an office, I'm based in Randburg Civic Center. Then we have Rivoli and we have Claremont. Those are the offices that we have for Region B. Then required documents, as I have already alluded to them. We need certified copies of the ID of the owner, proof of income, account of the both spouse. If you're an ESP, we need the slip, certified bank statements, 3 years of recent audit business financials. So I'm repeating myself. So in a nutshell, those are the things that we need. I was speaking to the, remember, Region B, it's one of, we call them the cream because now we are housing most of the investors rather than maybe having the businesses here. So most of the investors, they stay in our region. So how do we then now assist them? Because somewhere, somehow, they don't qualify for this. So we have what we call as revenue, a top 100 customers, whereby we have a dedicated team that assists those type of customers to say that your property value is so high. How can we assist you? Like, you know, your private banking. So we are saying as the municipality, we're trying ways to make our investors as comfortable as possible. They're very busy. They're trying to make sure that the economy is running rather than someone always coming to my office and saying, I've got a billing issue. We have a dedicated team. They also meet where they can also meet with them. Then we do assist. So those are the type of things that we try to bring in Region B revenue, customer care. So in a nutshell, thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Right. Morning, well, I think we're past morning now, it's afternoon. So afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to engage with Region B leadership. I was in another engagement where they said you should avoid career suicide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that we recognize the regional director, RD. Thank you for having us. We also recognize the senior management team, the executive director, as well as the Department of Economic Development and our colleagues in the Region B area. Now, let us begin with the honest truth. Randburg is facing visible decline. So in this presentation, I will speak about Randburg CBD in particular. And we see it when we walk through the CBD, the unmanaged activity, the pressure on infrastructure, as well as the disorder that chips away at public confidence. But there is good news. Urban decline is not permanent. We can reverse it. We do need three things to be able to do that. First is daily management, predictable enforcement, and shared investment, which is why we're all here. Now, what kind of business manager would I be if I don't introduce our business or our company? At Accelerate Managed Services, we have a simple mandate, and that is to make precincts functional, safe, and predictable every single day. We operate with a lean team with about 12 people. We form part of a broader integrated services across precinct, property, and urban infrastructure. One of the mechanisms that we use in this organization is precinct management. And this is the department that uses daily coordination, discipline, and consistency, even in the most complex environments, to bring stabilization and order. Now, I think we can go to the next slide. This is a slide just to introduce what I've just mentioned. We are a team of 12. In terms of financial scale, we collect levies as we operate in a city improvement district model. So we collect levies that we bill, and that totals about 3.7 million a month for our 6 precincts that we manage. We have proven collection per month, which is about 80%, and we manage 8 to 9 million square meters of public space, which we keep safe, clean, and operational across Johannesburg. I think we can go to the next slide. And of those 6 precincts that I mentioned, we manage the Sloan Precinct Owners Association, the Ilovo Boulevard Management District, the Eastern Managed Precinct, the Benrose Improvement District, the Rivonia Improvement District. Now, these precincts provide a proven blueprint for stabilization, regeneration, and long-term value. I think we can go to the next slide. And in terms of our partners, like I said, I try to avoid career suicide as much as possible all the time. We do partner quite well with the City of Johannesburg, the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency, the Gauteng Precinct Management Association, the City of Ekurhuleni, Vumacam 24/7, as well as the Forum for Integrated Risk Mitigation. Now, you might be asking, why does precinct management matter? The reason is that every neighborhood moves through a life cycle. And this life cycle moves through 5 stages. First is decline, stabilization, improvement, reinvestment or regeneration, and then sustained value or investment retention. Now, Randburg is caught between the first two stages, which is decline and stabilization. Now, the symptoms are visible. There is disorder. There's failing or aging infrastructure, unmanaged sidewalk activity, and declining investor confidence. So as Accelerate, our mandate is to try and bring in the corporates back into the space by making the clean environment, providing security, and making sure that effective precinct management is at a level that shifts the neighborhood from decline to long-term value creation. Now, we can go back to that slide. So it does take time, but with shared collaboration and investment, we do believe that it is possible. We've seen it in the other precincts we manage, and we believe that it is possible with the recent cleanup campaigns that we've seen in Region F. So it is possible. It just needs a lot of input and support. Now, we can go to the next slide. Now, what is happening in Randburg? Randburg is experiencing structural decline. It is a great node, I must say. It has about 358,000 square meters in total area, about 1.16 billion combined property value, which is quite significant. And it also has 57 stands, including 14 government-owned from the city. And major owners in the area are, as we said, the City of Johannesburg, Bukile Property Fund, Brawl, and Urban Real Estate. It does face three key issues. First is public realm decline, as I've mentioned. So aging infrastructure, poor lighting, litter, unmanaged verges. Second is enforcement gaps. I know I always preach about enforcement gaps, but it's quite important that we speak about this. So we have issues such as illegal parking from Uber. We have issues such as vending spillover into the public space, as well as inconsistent or bylaw enforcement. But I think we can probably term it and say we need more support for bylaw enforcement. Now, we do propose a phased approach that begins with the CBD core, which you can see is the orange area, where we've earmarked that as the first phase of the CID improvement area. The goal is to build a connected, managed, high-quality urban corridor that stretches along the Randburg area. You can go to the next slide. Now, if we don't act now, I have this slide just shows the visible breakdown of urban management in Randburg, just as an example of what you will see if you walk down there today. We do have e-hailing vehicles that obstruct the pedestrian space. Sometimes they even go through the public space. We have unregulated trade store encroaching on the public space. We have broken street furniture, overflowing bins. We have unmaintained road verges, as well as unregulated trade, informal trading. Now, these are visible signs, and this is what the properties and business owners see on a daily basis when they park or when they drive into the area. And it isn't something that they are too pleased about. I've had a lot of meetings where I've been under a lot of pressure as to what are we doing. And the good thing is, the last meeting I was invited by the RD, which is why I have to keep on mentioning him, the RD and the Region B leadership. His vision in that meeting is the same vision we have, which is positive. And this is why the city has invited business to also come on board. Now, if we can go to the next slide, which is a slide about approximately 287 million investment at risk from urban decay in the area. Now, Randburg Square is a significant anchor in the CBD for Randburg. The mall attracts just about 700,000 visitors every month. So you can see from that number, the footfall is very strong and the demand is real. But the surrounding environment is deteriorating. And if that continues, both the city and private property stand to lose. So no one gains, no one wins. We all stand to lose a lot in terms of social value and the real economic value in this area. Urban decay does not stay outside the mall. As you can see, I've got the entrance there. It literally just walks into the mall, and we're trying to avoid that. Now, if we go to the, maybe if we can go to the next slide, please. In terms of delivering value, where must the intervention begin? The most urgent zone is the CBD around the Randburg Square. This is where property owners such as Urban Real Estate Holdings, Centerpoint and Brawl have properties. And they are willing to contribute in terms of a city improvement district model, supported by the city in terms of infrastructure and service delivery as well. Now, the key issues in this area are crime, safety concerns, crime, and managed informal social activity. And in terms of the intervention, we are looking, or we've advocated for clear enforcement, operational protocols, dedicated support teams for social issues and street level disorder. So when we say social issues, in terms of trading, there is a plan from the city. We've seen it, I think, in Region F, where they are dealing with street traders in terms of getting them into designated areas. I think this is very important as well in the Randburg area, because the area that is allocated for street trading at the moment is not adequate. Hence, people will spill over into the public space, because from my old days in school, if you don't plan for people, they will make a plan and they will occupy space. So that is something that we probably need to discuss as a community. Tactical urban design interventions, engagement with the taxi association. So I have an interesting story about Springs and Ekurhuleni. Apparently there is an area where they engage with the taxi association in terms of maintenance of security. They're able to ensure that their customers that use the taxis can be safe and can arrive into the area. So there's mutual interest between the businesses in the Randburg Square and the taxi association. So maybe we might need to facilitate that engagement. I'm not sure if they're here today, but maybe we might need to bring them on board and lean on their years of experience of providing safety. I think we can move to the next slide, please. And then in terms of the Randburg precinct management solution, Accelerate delivers integrated precinct management across 3 focus areas: cleaning, landscaping, public space maintenance, public space security, and also managing social infrastructure and environment. And I've tried to squeeze in the picture at the bottom there that just shows you what that looks like in terms of creating environments where people can actually thrive and businesses can thrive. You can go to the next slide, please. Now, this is probably my second last slide, but I do have 3 questions that I would like to leave the audience with for discussion. The first question is, what joint actions can the city and local property owners commit to over the next 90 days to stabilize the Randburg CBD core? And then the second question, how do we establish a predictable enforcement rhythm with JMPD and bylaw units so that hotspots, walkways, informal trading areas, and illegal parking do not revert to disorder? So when we move forward, we don't go backwards. And then the last question, how can the city ensure that future public realm upgrades in Randburg, including a funded long-term maintenance, or include a funded long-term maintenance component supported by precinct management to sustain improvements? So I know that we have a beautification project that has been implemented in the area. So the last question really speaks to how do we maintain these projects long-term? And that's where Accelerate as a precinct management or other management companies can find themselves playing a part. And this slide speaks to business plus city partnership model, sustaining beautification and precinct renewal. To sustain the improvement, we need a shared operating rhythm between the city, where the city can include a maintenance allocation budget for every public realm upgrade, ensuring beautification or infrastructure improvement does not collapse over 6 months or a year or 3 years. Secondly, the local property owners, by co-investing through a CID model, which is voluntary, by the way, it is voluntary. We just approach all the business owners and explain that your asset is at risk if you don't invest, and they usually see the vision and they commit to the CID model. So by co-investing through this model, we get predictable ring-fence funding to match and strengthen the city's baseline for the investment that the city would have put forward. And then thirdly, the precinct operators or managers running daily operations, cleaning, safety, visibility, social support, escalation, infrastructure coordination with departments such as CRUM and the entities Joburg Water, City Power, and my favorite, JMPD. This creates a CBD that is clean, safe, and protected against decline. Not once-off projects, but sustained improvement. And in closing, I know I asked the questions before, but in closing the question again, I'll just re-emphasize the question. How do we stabilize Randburg in the next 90 days and sustain it for the next decade? Randburg does not need another project, it needs partnership, a rhythm, a daily management system that brings together the city, local businesses, which is all of us in the room, as well as professional bodies that can manage areas. When we combine predictable enforcement, structured management, shared investment, Randburg moves from decline to stabilization and then eventually to regeneration. We are ready to partner with the city, property owners to deliver a stable, safe, and investment-ready Randburg CBD. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Can we give him another round of applause? I think the work that the organization is doing is very commendable, very inspiring as well. I know you were speaking for the Randburg area that you are managing, but I'm sure, I left the questions there, I'm sure they're applicable to all the other areas in the city and in the region as well, Arti. And I think you have also laid a very beautiful foundation for the next part of the program. My personal favorite, because this is the opportunity that business, or that we are giving to business to then express yourself. You can ask questions or come in with your comments, depending on what you want to share with the audience. We'll take 2 rounds of Q&A. If there are 3 people that want to ask or contribute, we can do that for the first round, and then we can come back for our last bite with the last 3 questions. Can I see by show of hands those that have questions, clarity, contributions, burning issues? There's one at the back. Can I see another one? There's a second hand. Officials can also ask questions, and that's the 3rd one. Do we have another mic, or do we only have one?
Thank you very much, and hearty, thank you for the presentations that was done. Thank you to the RD, the executive team, and all the members of City of Johannesburg. By looking at this, okay, sorry man, my name is Greg Bowers, and I'm from an organization called EnviroParks. Looking at the presentations done here today, I must say it is really an eye-opener, and I think we're sitting with us a huge gap when it comes to opportunities that needs to be provided for various communities, various local business people, in the sense of This is the first gathering where I've actually participating in, and I've never heard of this particular setup as such, even though we're in the skills training setup for quite a while. One of the biggest challenges that we're sitting with is, developing entrepreneurs, because that is the way to go in today's era with the economy being the state it's in as we are speaking. But my biggest question and the challenge that we're sitting with is what more, or how best can our local investors, our local businessmen, our local entrepreneurs, how best can city per se assist our communities when it comes to this? Sorry, I see there's an echo coming through here. Must I stand somewhere else perhaps? The other question that I also have is, with these opportunities, I think this is something that is very, very positive with regards to what the city is doing to actually reach out to various disadvantaged areas as such. Because we tend to focus on a lot of, I always say we're not here to build or to invent people for jobs, but how best is it that we can actually incorporate and utilize this opportunity to market and to bring up young investors, because we've got so much of potential in our local communities, but unfortunately this is the first time we're gathering and sitting under such an occasion where we see the opportunities that are being presented. How best can this also be elaborated further? We have dealt with provincial with regards to funding for this particular entrepreneurship programs, which is now called New Venture Creation. But unfortunately, we've never got to a stage or a setting where we are able to do various presentations. And the challenge that we're sitting with is, in as much as we reach out to our young entrepreneurs, the challenge that we're sitting with is there is not such platforms that we're having, albeit that we're sitting in here today. So those are the kinds of things that we are looking at, and also the challenges that we are faced, because I can tell you now, we are not focused on or producing people for jobs, but we are looking at potential businessmen and businesswomen that can elevate and escalate, because through them, they can employ other people as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Stanley Chisebe again. To Mr. Donald Mabusela, as productivity say, we work with different businesses, of course. And one of the challenges that we always come around is, of course, funding. And one of the things that people always complain about is the turnaround time. So the question is there any turnaround time that may be specified that you can share with us in terms of if you send through your application, how long it can take, and maybe the qualifying criteria, if you can just take us through that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Program Director, and good afternoon to the colleagues that are here, the RD and the ED. My name is Komojo Matole. I'm with the Department of Economic Development, City of Johannesburg. Currently the Acting Director responsible for Regional Economic Development. So mine is for Tsepo Maloka. I know that your presentation was more focused on debt relief program, but I'm more interested in, say, is it the speakers? Maybe if you can just turn it around. Thank you. So say I'm a business owner and I'm paying the city very well. I'm up to date. My account is very up to date. And do you have any incentives program that are in place for such businesses? So if I'm paying very well, what kind of incentives are you giving to such businesses? If you do have, can you please just take us through those? I'll pause here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm going to allow the RDED to respond to the first question, and then the second one, it will be Ntate Donald, and then we'll finish off with Tepano.
So thank you. So I think Craig, no, thanks for the question. I think the reason why I did mention earlier that we've never really had a platform where we can engage with business people around their issues, specifically programs, projects, opportunities, and how we can sort of work together to basically, support SMMEs in our communities, different communities. So for us, really, probably let's have a follow-up session specific for some of the things that you want us to address. Just guide us, and we'll prepare the correct information. We'll bring in the right teams as well to come in terms of that support on issues around training and so forth. So we do have also other partners. As you know, that Standard Bank, for example, is one of our partners. And part of what we're doing with Standard Bank around enterprise and supply development, it's also to make sure that we support SMMEs in terms of whether is issues around market access through their group, funding support through some of the products that they have, and pretty much the program mirrors what we're doing as a department. So there are different really platforms that we can use. So we'll just need to sort of have a better understanding of some of the things that you want us to address, and so that we can really directly address those as well. We also, as mentioned, we're looking a lot at products that are produced in our communities, our townships, and we support those as well through other platforms, whether it's exhibitions, market access, also using digital platforms. As you know now, most enterprises are no longer using the conventional, even though I still prefer to press the bread a bit to feel if it's soft. But very few people actually go to stores now. So how do you also make sure that our manufacturers in our communities and townships are not left behind in terms of some of those? So we also have partnerships there with the likes of Take A Lot, for example, that already have a lot of SMMEs that we've supported on the platform that are doing well there. So it will really just depend on what we need to tailor-make. But I think we are excited. We're looking forward to sort of having that, so that we can then come up with a program. That shopping center that you showed earlier in Randburg, there's a store there called, can I gain that store? I can't remember. It's got a very nice French name. It's a store owned by women that are selling only South African local beauty products. A lot of them, more than 100 local products that are there. It's also digitized. So we do create this ecosystem where, for example, sometimes location is important for certain products. I'm sure you know the story of some guy called Tuslai. Tuslai was in Soweto selling kota there, doing very well, but not as well as he's doing now, that he decided to also expand his business to other location in region E. So those are some of the things that you really look at as you explore solutions for the businesses. In some instances, we may bring productivity as aid to assist in terms of productivity or efficiency around running some of the businesses. But I think we are open. That's why we are here, to create those platforms so that we can further package interventions that will support our local SMMEs, create opportunities also for market access for local products as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. I must also thank the ED for taking difficult questions, so I'm going to answer simple ones with less technical language. You know, when we did, I think it's not even economics 110. It was somewhere at high school level when you were introduced to economics, standard 10. Yeah. And then when they were now beginning teaching us about the economy and how, the first thing that I got to understand is to say, in order for business to thrive, the environment, you need to deal with the environment. So it's like a soccer pitch. Now, if you have a gravel soccer pitch, you will need to grade it and level it so that players can be able to play smoothly. But if it's a grass one, you need to make sure that the lawn is well watered, is cut. That's why they say you level the ground. Now, I'm going to take questions as they were asked. Perhaps it would have been 3 questions and also include perhaps engagement into especially the last presentation that was made by Leslie. So the question was asked to say, then how do we incentivize those businesses that are working within your space and they're doing very well and so on. And I think also someone has asked, how then do we bring all these things nearer to communities and ensure that communities are able to participate. And that is why I have likened, as I started, everything with a soccer pitch, where business people are players. We as the city are supposed to create a playable environment. And that playable environment, I'll start with Mr. Maloka there. He will remember at one particular point I had engaged with him to say, Mona, I'm beginning to get a lot of queries coming from the business people directly into my email, which business people will be saying to me, RD, we have done all that we ought to do. I've been having a problem with regard to this service problem, but mostly would be talking about revenue rates and how they were misbilled and so on and so on. And one thing I said to Maluk, I said, look, if I fail as the regional director to respond adequately to these questions, then you must know that I'm beginning to say those people must leave my region and go and find somewhere where they can be able to operate. You have to make a plan. And maybe that is here, because then he would have said to me, RD, because I don't want that, I am going to create a desk. That particular desk would be directly related, linked to the office of the regional director, in a sense that when you get those queries that are escalated, because if they are escalated, they would have not been assisted at our level. They, at your level, need to be assisted. And you will attest to the fact that after that, we have begun to see a happy people in the business sector in Region B, where people are saying, at least someone has answered my call, at least someone has taken me through, at least someone has clarified me. There's not much that business people are looking for. Now, the first incentivization of business people is to create that environment. And we, as the city, as I had said before, we are the creators of the environment, because these businesses are operating on our amenities that are under our control. I've mentioned all these other issues, including waters and water, electricity, and so on and so on. So I think that is the first thing that we need to do. But the fact is that where we are sitting, I'm not even sure if we do have a proper what is this thing where you have a list of people, database, that we can sit here and comfortably saying that we are really in touch of business people within our space. In this case, I'll use my region. And we'll take stock. I was talking to one of my colleagues outside to say, I think this is the beginning. We need to, when we move out of here, we really need to begin to intensify this and make sure that we really have almost all those people that are making this city, the ones that we are priding ourselves to say, this city is developing. We need them in our space, and we need to get closer to them so that we can engage with them. We can say, how can we help you? And then we can be able then to, like I'm saying, the first incentivization will be that one of getting closer to them and then be able to respond to what they need. I also once indicated that, especially in this region, if you look into the areas where we have problems of unemployment, youth, you take Westbury, for example, where you've got an alarming crime, drug, and all these kinds of things that are happening. We always say, you know, you need to take away these young people out of the streets. How do we do that? And I think that question was asked about, then how do we make sure that these people know these things? Because the truth, colleagues, the truth is that it is not even about business here. We are having a challenge of people who don't even know, if I seek employment, where do I go? Some of which, if I was to use the South as an example, whom are somewhere in the informal settlements and everywhere else, they don't even have digital or this kind of sophisticated phones or whatever. And it means those people are closed away from the world. And these are the people that are within ourselves. How do we make sure that they come closer to where they can be able to? So we need to deliberately create centers within our communities, even closer to where they live, skills development centers. And I think I did engage with DED at one point, and I was excited. I think it was UKK at a particular time when you were going to, no, it was not KK, it was someone in economic development was going to do something like a Region B economic strategy and what, and identify these things. It was UKK, yeah, all right. So that at the end of the day, we can then bring everything together. So it means you owe in that thing. There's no debt relief on that one. So because we want that one who lives in the informal settlement, who is close to everything, who doesn't see any TV, doesn't see any Ketmatlala and or whatever it is, can walk closely to a youth center or a skill development center. They get there, they find which companies we have, whichever companies, they know that we provide services here. When they are advertising employment, it will be there on the walls, and then we will have all assistance that they can get in those particular halls. And this is how far we can come together with business. But this is if we know where they are and we are creating this relationship with. So lastly, if you go to the Rambek CBT, and I said this before, you have just one problem. I always say to people, 70% of my problem is by law enforcement. as if you make sure that you are consistently enforcing the bylaw, you have dealt with 70% of the problems of Rambek. And that is where we need to start, Leslie, you see, with those business owners and your property owners, as you would have said. I know of those who are threatening us to leave. Multi-choice is one of those that are still there, and they are saying to me, you know, you are lucky because we are using part of your land that was given to this, but if that was not the case, we will leave Rambek. So how do we make sure that it's that partnership that we are talking about with the NGOs and making sure that we sit down and begin to say, if a problem here is by law enforcement, how do we as private sector come together with the city to begin to say, fine, city, what is your problem? If your problem is capacity of police officers, because that is the truth, colleagues. We do have police officers, but we don't have capacity. By law enforcement officers as well, because most of them, when you see, they go there, they clean, tomorrow they are called to say there's an informal sector settlement that is being invaded, and then they take all of them there, and then therefore that thing goes back to. So if we can find a situation where business people can say, we can assist, we have security people that we can bring in, that can form a unit that exists, especially in the north. That is a Rambek stakeholder unit, for example. That is business, and that is a city. We will, to a large extent, be able to win. I'm not sure if I have tried to respond to the questions, but I think part of what I was trying to do is to say, going forward, this is what I think we need to put in place with the help of economic development, of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a very important question. What is the turnaround time? On average, it takes about 3 months to finalize, because the committees, each and every incentive program has got a dedicated committee, and those committees sit only once a month. Now, there are a lot of projects that are not finalized within that period of time. It takes forever. And one of the key reasons would be, as soon as we receive your application and we allocate it to an official, the official goes through your documentation and everything to check alignment with the rules of that particular scheme. Now, if there's additional information they are requiring from the applicant, and the applicant takes 3 weeks to respond or a month to respond, that delays the process. If a tax clearance certificate is missing or has expired, it's going to take a little bit of time before a new one comes through. So what causes a delay in most cases is when applicants are requested to provide specific details, specific documents that support the application, and they take forever to respond. And as a result, that's why somebody will say, for 6 months, my application has been in the system. Another one will end up saying, for 12 months, my application has been in the system. But now for every incentive scheme, there's a list of documents that must be submitted. Now, if you've got all those documents, the chances of your application being finalized quicker will be very good. And of course, this relates to the second part of the question, where we say, what kind of documents will be required? It's also going to differ from one incentive scheme to the other. But basically, on those business plans that we've put together. And if it's about starting or expanding, you want to acquire equipment, machinery, and all those kind of things. You need to have letters of intent from your potential customers and the offtake agreements in support of your business plan, and the legal documents such as the tax clearance certificate and the like. So, but it's going to differ from one incentive scheme to the other. But in reality, most of the documents that you submit to us are the same documents that you'll be submitting to any other funder. So we require the same type of documents. So it's rare where we'll have our own unique documents. So the business plan that you submit to APSA or to IDC is the same business plan that you will submit to us. And therefore, the same set of documents you will be submitting all over. Of course, what kind of incentive program are you applying for? So in brief, that's how I'm responding to the two questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So the question was the incentives that we do as revenue, mainly for businesses. So in this regard, revenue, we don't have any incentives that we do for businesses. But however, like I mentioned on the presentation, it's one of the few that we're trying to do, like for example, the debt relief. So as we go along, we're trying to come up with ideas to implement, to assist, like we are doing regionally with the RD, is to have what we call a help desk. You know, so it's unfortunate with capacity, we tend to have challenges there and there. But however, the help desk has improved customer relations with our customers and our businesses as well. So for now, as regionally, we do have what we call a help desk, which we are avoiding SLA, whereby a query is logged, we wait for 30 days. So we try to make sure that it's done within a period of time. Because remember, a business, let's take a butchery for example, if they get disconnected, it's affecting their businesses. So now in our case, what we're saying is, look, this query, let's sit on it, let's try to resolve it, and let's not wait for the SLA. So that butchery can still operate, or rather, if we can see there's an issue, we flag that account. But the customer just keep on paying whatever that you've been paying, then we'll deal with the billing issues. So those are the type of things that we try as revenue as well to do in terms of, I would say, incentive or customer care in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just want to check for our final round. Are there any other questions or comment? There's one comment. Anyone else? You want to come for a second bite? And then the third one will be Leslie. Let's start here.
Thank you very much. My name is Lebo Dlamini from Lebo D Property Services, and also I'm your competitor, by the way, even though I don't have the same access that you have to the market. And also I'm in the tourism industry. But complaining already into the catering only. I'm the best one. Anyway, my comment is thank you very much to the organizers, and the presentation for me, it was very clear. But however, I'm touched and moved by even the statement that was mentioned by the RD. Thank you very much. I'm not going, those who are sensitive, please bear with me. Because I made a note here to say, as much as yes, we are business and whatever, but we are affected by what is happening in our communities, especially that pertains to the youth. Therefore, it will be imperative for the GGDA and the trade industry to also go to schools from grade 10, 11, and 12, start preparing those guys about the opportunities that are there from the city, so that it's not everybody who will be going to university. And TikTok has shown us that we've got so much talent in SA. But unfortunately, they don't have access to these things because your innovation hub is in Pretoria. Or I think I heard something like that. I tried to attend one at some stage sometime last year, and they wanted something around 12,000 rand just to attend Innovation Hub. It was one of those things, yeah. So if our children knows that there's this kind of information and there's this kind of assistance that the city is offering, before they drop out from grade 10, because from grade 10 they start dropping out, before they can do that, they know that if I'm unable to go to university, then there's these opportunities in the film industry. We know how talented they are. It's not about umjaivo nje kuphela, but there's so much talent. In the trade industry, there's so much innovation in our schools, in our high schools. Please be there, be in that space, in the public schools. Private school is sorted, they are catered for, but public schools, Emma Township, please be there. Innovation hubs, can they also be in the township? I plead with you. Trade and industry, GDDA, CEDA, whatever, the city, please be there. That's my only plea. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think I tend to agree with the last speaker. You know, it's sometimes a bit scary when we look at the partnerships that we have with both City of Johannesburg as well as provincial government. The challenge that I have with regards to, especially when it comes to City of Johannesburg, we are part of the paper service program. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of the paper service setup, which is basically only a 3-month program that we have to run through the City of Johannesburg, and obviously it is I call it a crash course, because you can't really divulge, you can't really make impact in communities as such. And that is why we strive to do our utmost best to ensure that we equip our young people, the youth as such, to be able to at least have a formal startup as such. The biggest challenge that we also have as an organization and as a skills development center is the fact that, you know what, when we cater for so many people, we also look at, we actually deal with VDs in our wards. You know, in a ward you have something like 5 or 7 or 8, 9, 10 VDs. But unfortunately you cannot reach you cannot reach out to everybody because of limited resources. Also, there's so many young people that have talent to run their own businesses. So what we try our utmost best is to ensure and look at ways and means in terms of how to register your business. But registering a business is not everything, but how to equip our young people to run the business. That is where the challenge is, where we're sitting with. And because of the limited resources that we have, it becomes a challenge. Because we cannot be at that point where we don't want to just register you as your organization or your business as such, but it needs to ensure that we equip our young people to be able to not only start up the business, but to also sustain the business as such. So that is why our plea on this platform is to say, how can we actually take hands to ensure that we reach each and every individual that is needing of such opportunities as such. And also to the trade guys, I want to say to you, we'll definitely come and knock on your door to assist and help our young people to achieve greater heights and greater prospects as such. Thank you very much.
I've been speaking a lot, so I've been sitting across 3 young people the whole day, and from my days of being an educator, I've learned that sometimes you have to make people speak. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask one of these two to say something, because you came to the forum.
Good afternoon to you guys all. Unfortunately, I'm no longer youth. But I'm with my fellow youth so I came with them today. I work with Pastor Greg, he's my boss. So it's an NPO, we do skills training. So I think the main issue that we face as an NPO is that after we train our youth, we struggle to place them for job opportunities. So I think with the regional director being here and other stakeholders, I think you guys maybe can perhaps help us. We are based in Rivali Recreation Center. The other thing for, my question was going to be for you, actually. Mr. Sorry, I'm going to get your name. Mr. Donald? No. Yes, Donald Mabusela. I wanted to ask about the dormant companies, right? Like Greg said, most of people, they do register companies, but they struggle to get them going, sustain them. So I wanted to know, but you'll find that those ones that are registered companies, they are compliant, like they keep their SARS up to date, they're doing their nil returns, their CSDs are up to date, maybe they do have a bank account running, maybe they deposit money every month so that it doesn't close. So I wanted to know, how do you help those such businesses, you know, to get a startup? I don't know if the question is directed to you correctly, or maybe there's somebody else who can maybe perhaps give me an answer. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. I think we've made a commitment, right, that we will come, Craig, so that we have a bit more focused discussion around the issues. But safe to say that I think we also, I mean, we run a lot of programs with CETAs, with private sector, where we are addressing a lot of these issues, including placement in jobs. We've done a program now with Soweto Southwest College around road maintenance. And I think a lot of those kids, some of the entities like Sanral have absorbed some of them. Some said, Bona, they want to go into business. So you always look at different pathways for young people when you train, and you don't want to constrain them so that you give them exposure. So I think that there are a lot of those conversations that we have with everyone, including our own entities internally in the city, because we are responsible for some of this. If you look at at least the 4 core entities, City Power, we do artisanal projects with them, where we train young people, and then they provide them with maybe a 24 months program where they are on stipend, but especially those that want to be qualified artisans, we provide them with those opportunities. The same with Joburg Water around plumbers and all of that. Same with JRA in terms of road maintenance and patching of roads. So we do a lot of those projects. I suppose it a matter of exposure and access. I think as we communicate, we will then see how we sort of link those projects as well. So I think that's one thing. But also in terms of education, I do agree. I think while I was still in the province, I know that we started projects around schools of the future, schools of specialization. We do have some of those few schools around, not enough yet, but there where you've got a school focusing on the automotive sector, for example, where when these young people leave school, you want them to really be able to do a lot in terms of automotive sector. There are also a lot of schools that have those capabilities, machines, some of them, but may need support. There's a school, I think, in Eldos. What is it called? Is it? It's not Montrose, man. It's a school in. I forget the name. If you go to school, the workshops and the equipment that they have, what they need is just really to be supported so that communities can use the facility to serve some of their clients and create that ecosystem in the community. So we do agree. I think when we do have that sort of one-on-one, we'll look at those areas and see how we can link young people in our communities to some of the opportunities that we have. But also because we do get approached by everyone at all times, including business. At least once we know, we should be able to also start being your mouthpiece as well in terms of expanding those opportunities to you also. So, but we do acknowledge those, and I think part of why we exist is to solve those. So earlier when the chief economist was doing his catwalk there, talking about our structure, I think it did indicate we've got sustainable employment facilitation. Is that, yeah, SEF, and so those colleagues look at supporting SMMEs. Also in our communities, we've got opportunity centers where we do, young people will come and pretty much, engage us in terms of how they can access other opportunities. So we do have one at Dan Van Zyl, I think, is one of our most advanced, in fact. So let's use it. We do get partners also coming through there, whether it's your CIDB, other government entities, or even private sector, to basically talk about what they do and how they want to connect young people to those programs. So yeah, let's also use the opportunity centers that we have in our regions. I think we do have about 9 in all the regions, including mobile bus. So where there is a group of young people, when we don't have a physical opportunity center, we can bring the mobile bus to come and support them so that we are still able to access some of the support that we provide there. Thank you.
Am I correct in saying that the ED has covered the last round? All right, thank you so much. We have come to the end of our session. We started this drive 2 or 3 weeks ago. I stand to be corrected. And we were launching it in the different regions of our city to make sure that we open the doors, or we create that platform for communication between the city as well as the businesses, in order for us to start talking to each other to make sure that we address service delivery issues, but that we also partner in terms of creating solutions that will advance our economy. And I must say, personally, this has been a very eye-opening exercise that we were doing. And as we have been saying in the other sessions, this is just a launch. We are not ending today, but we are hopefully starting a new relationship with yourselves as the business community. But I see this as an opportunity for us to work more closely even with our colleagues in the region. With that said, ladies and gentlemen and colleagues, I just want to highlight some of the key takeaways that I've captured from the session today. We can agree that there is a shared commitment to economic growth. Everyone that was speaking, including the comments, it just highlights the shared vision or passion that we have to see our city thriving once again. And this, of course, aligns with global as well as local priorities, as mentioned, from national to province, even in the city, as expressed in our economic growth strategy. And it was very interesting to note that the investors are located in this region. When we went to Region A and Region E, they were saying that they are the engines of the economy of our city. But today it was interesting to note that those investors in the region, they are actually residing here. And as a result, you have your key accounts and the top 100. I think that is an area of interest for us as the department, so that we can have a more intimate relationship with the investors that are in all those other areas, so that we can discuss with them and identify areas of collaborations, opportunities for us to serve them better. So we'll greatly appreciate that assistance from yourselves, colleagues. And the other point is key barriers highlighted by business. Thank you so much, Leslie, for summarizing it for all of us. Not only did you summarize, but you also gave us a graphic presentation. And yeah, sometimes we want to run away when we see those photos, but I think it's very important for us to see what businesses are dealing with on a daily basis. In another region, the business owner was saying, I have not been to my business premises for the past, I think he said 3 weeks, because of the state of the area where he's operating. So I think as the city, we also need that raw or tough reminder, so that when we go back to our offices, when we meet internally as colleagues, those pictures can stick with us, so that we can quickly implement the solutions that are required. In terms of way forward, I've also summarized it. Number one is that we are going to establish an action-orientated investor retention task team. We do not know the form, or we have not yet conceptualized. Remember, I mentioned earlier on that we want it to be region specific. We don't want to bring interventions that will not speak to this region. So after this, we are going to convene as city officials together with our regional directors, so that we can try and identify what does it look like. And from the sessions that we've had, it's possible that the solution for region B might not necessarily be the same for region D, but at the end of the day, we'll make sure that we attend to the needs that have already been identified. And with that said, it's very important for us to prioritize service delivery improvements. I'm impressed to hear that you've also established a help desk. That's commendable. It shows that you do care about your very important customers that are in the city. And then I think very important, even as part of the comments, is for us as the city to reinforce our communication and engagement, to make sure that we have those platforms for businesses, as well as reaching out to the communities, including our schools, just so that we make sure everybody knows and understand the support that is available. And lastly, support inclusive and sustainable economic growth. And with that said, colleagues, ED, RD, ladies and gentlemen, please also allow me to acknowledge the councillor of this area where we are gathered today. I know there's council today, and they were unable to meet and be with us in this platform. But I just want to say as a closing message that the outcome of this engagement reinforces that Johannesburg's progress depends on sustained, honest, and solution-driven collaboration, as has been articulated throughout the day. By working together, we can unlock new opportunities, strengthen investor confidence, and build a city that is not only economically competitive, but also inclusive, sustainable, and future-ready. With that said, I just want to thank all of you. You can give yourselves a round of applause for being such a wonderful audience and for seeing the importance of coming to this engagement so that you can contribute meaningfully. We have come to the end of our session. Refreshments are served outside, but the colleagues are also here to respond to any other questions that you may have. The presentations, all the presentations will be shared. We'll make sure that you have it, and we are also going to communicate when the next engagement will be. Enjoy the rest of your day as well as the festive seasons ahead. Be safe, and God bless you.